Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could remain standing as we always do, and remember our men and women in the armed forces. And if we could remember two great ladies who passed since our last meeting, who did a lot for this community, Carla Fay and Ann Hess. Thank you. Public comment on agenda items. Any public comment on agenda items? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the special meeting we had on May 30th, 2023? Motion. Motion by Jim. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee DeSalvo. All in favor?
I abstain, I wasn't there.
Okay, I'll take roll call, please.
Trustee Guerrero,
Abstain.
Trustee Ramos,
Aye.
Trustee Phillips,
Abstain.
Trustee DeSalvo,
Yes.
Mayor Donato.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution for fiscal year 23-24 budget amendment, whereas a check totaling $4,999 has been received from the Orange County, and whereas $4,999 of this revenue has been designated to cover part of the cost of the 4th of July fireworks. Now therefore be it resolved that due to unanticipated revenue from Orange County, New York, the Board of Trustees approves an amendment to increase the appropriation budget of A7550.0400 celebrations contractual for $4,999, and the revenue code A3089 other government aid $4,999 for fiscal year 23-24. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second? Second. May I have roll call?
Trustee Guerrero,
Yes.
Trustee Ramos,
Yes.
Trustee Phillips,
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo,
Yes.
Mayor Donato.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution, Urban County Qualification Corporation Agreement. This is an agreement that we have, it lasts 3 years, and the 3 years is up, and so this would be for 2024, 25, and 26. It's our annual, well, as I said, every 3 years agreement with the county relating to community development block grants, which we're applying for right now for an elevator. May I have a motion? May I have a motion to sign this agreement with the county with Steve Newhouse?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. The next resolution has, it's the Village of Highland Falls governing body for fair housing, a fair housing resolution. Again, this is something we do every year, and it pertains to our Section 8. If this could be, if I could have permission to sign it and send it to the proper authorities, that would be the right thing to do.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, I wonder, can I have a discussion?
Yeah?
Is there hesitation on the board because we perceive that there are too many Section 8 housing in the village?
Yes. Well, I don't know about the board. My answer to you, if I had to say yes or no, I would say yes to you.
Okay, so I mean, why do we approve so many Section 8 housing in the village? There's 52, I believe, is that right?
I actually think it's more.
75?
I will get you the right number.
Okay.
Um,
So I think that's
and
been
what-
something that's been talked about by villagers, that we just seem to have a lot of low-income housing and Section 8 housing.
Yeah.
And I think there's a question as to why.
With the Section 8, once they call them certificates, once a certificate is handed back because the person moved out of town, or maybe they bettered themselves and that they no longer have to be on Section 8, the folks that I deal with Section 8 know that I no longer want that certificate. So over the years, it's gone down, but it's a very slow process to get to 0, doing it this way. But I do, just so you know, I do that. It helps a little bit. Okay.
And I think once you break down the numbers, you'll see, I think, I want to say it's either 25 or 35% are seniors.
Yeah.
Because some seniors can qualify for it if they can't get into, Lime Green or another facility, which Lime Green wouldn't be. I don't think they're part of that Section 8 program.
So I just say like a yes or no. Wine Green is Section 8, but not with us. It's a federal program. We have nothing to do with that over there. But so yes, they are, but no, it's not
They're
ours.
not this.
Yeah. Okay.
We had discussion, we did vote.
Okay, seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next is another resolution, pertains to parking. We realized a couple of weeks ago that there were some parking issues over at Roe Park. So what this resolution does, it will make no parking from the bottom of Berry Hill to Park Place on that side. So we have a recommendation from our officer in charge, Sergeant Torpy. Whereas the Board of Trustees is authorized and empowered to make or amend by resolution any rule or regulation for the reasonable control of traffic on a public street in the village pursuant to Section 108.3 of the Code of the Village of Highland Falls. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees as follows. This is a Type 2 action under secret. 2. The Section 108-19 parking prohibited at all times be amended to include the following. Street name, Roe Avenue, Berry Hill, and Park Place. Northwest, southwest, from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. Sunday through Monday. Location between north/west corner of intersection of Berry Hill, Roe Avenue, and continuing north on Roe Avenue to the southwest corner of intersection of Park Place, Roe Avenue. I think everyone here knows where I'm speaking of. So that's what it'll help traffic there because we've had some issues over there. You wouldn't get a fire truck or an ambulance through.
Motion.
Motion?
Mhm.
Thank you. Do I have a
Second.
second?
Who's seconded?
You can carry.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we've been waiting for this. The Orange County Department of Health has approved our engineer's specifications for water pipes replacement on Dior Park and certain sections of Cragston. And so now it's now with that approval from the county, which we've been waiting on, we can continue the very large project down in that area of stormwater and sewer and now water. But we need permission for the engineer to go out for bids on the water main project.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, this next thing is also an annual agreement that you have usually, well, you've always let me sign, and this is for the EAP service agreement that we have with Catholic Charities of Orange, Sullivan, and Ulster County. If you take a moment and read it, it's a program that we offer our employees for different situations that they may be in, that they need to talk to someone.
This is a standard annually.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Totally.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Comp Alliance, which is workman's compensation, which we have to have. The cost is $106,853 for 22-23. I would like to inform you all that that's a reduction of $19,061. So we've improved our comp cases to some degree, and now we have a $19,000 reduction in the premium.
Good.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve it.
Motion.
Second.
1 second. Okay, so the motion would be authorizing the mayor to sign this agreement with Comp Alliance. I have a motion still, and I have a second still. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We're getting there, honey. We're getting there. When I said honey, it's a 1-year-old girl.
Right.
It'll be all over Facebook. Right now it is. Believe me. Okay, there's 4 monitors downstairs, 3 keyboards, 3 mouses, and 1 fax machine. We need to, they're old, they've been replaced, we need to declare them surplus. And then we're also, I talked to Tim Green, you know, we always do the vehicles. Well, he has seen this kind of stuff on there too. So we're going to put it out to the auction instead of throwing it away. So can I have can we do approval to make these pieces here surplus? We have serial numbers and everything for all these, but I don't have that with me.
Yes, make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. All right, new date. We had approved the intermediate school 8th grade picnic. For June 22, this Thursday. We've already approved that. They would like to move it to the 21st, Wednesday. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Which might be better anyway because it's supposed to rain on Thursday. But can we approve, the insurance is here. It's just approving it again for Wednesday the 21st. Same time. The police have been notified and the highway department.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Request for the 4th of July committee to hold events from July 1 to July 4th. You have that whole packet of all the events, all the different days, everything that's being done on different days, from canoe races to concerts to bed races to another concert to fireworks to a parade to family activities at Rural Park. Insurance by the 4th of July has been given. I think it should be attached. It is. May I have approval for these events with everything that's been submitted from July 1 through July 4th?
Make a motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We had a lot of good times coming up. Another 4th of July event, not put on by the committee, but by a couple of fellows to hold the Highland Falls annual Firecracker 5K race and Children's Fun Run on July 4th, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. The event form is here, and insurance, I think, is here. You see it?
Yep.
If we could approve this event, it's an annual thing now.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Thank you so much. Bills and claims, fiscal year 22-23, $124,800.22. Fiscal year 23-24, which is the year we're in now, $669,563.44. May I have a motion to pay bills and claims?
Second.
Oh, did you make a motion? Okay, I'm sorry. In a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. I want to thank the Highway Garage department. I don't know, up by, if you come down Mountain Avenue past the water plant, you'll see a new flower box. This, the one that was there was all rotted, and so they made this in-house and installed it. So I want to thank them for that. I want to thank all those who were responsible for putting on the June 19th parade and all the festivities, about three days probably. But the parade was nice, and down at the park was nice, and it truly was living history, and I think that it was extremely uplifting, and it's a great story to hear. It's something I never knew when I was younger, so. Working closely 2 or 3 times a week with our grant writer. He's going to be writing a grant for some of the expenses we have down in Ondura Park in Cranston with the sewer, wastewater, and water project that we just approved to go out to bid. And let's see what happens here. We can, any kind of grants will help. Scenic Hudson and the trail that you all know about. There's a meeting this Thursday, the 22nd, is that Thursday? Yeah, this Thursday to talk about entrance to the trail and parking. So I'll be attending that. The Roe Park Pool had a county inspection, and everything was, no violations were found. So I'm thankful for that, and that we're taking care of that. Boy Scout Colin Monahan, nice young man, earning his Eagle badge, did the garden at the north end across from USAA, across from Chipotle. It's really, really nice. So if you go up that way and have to go through West Point for whatever different reasons, look at the garden. It's really, there were weeds there, and now there's a beautiful, beautiful garden. I had a meeting last week with the garrison commander and the deputy garrison commander. It lasted an hour and a half, which is longer than normal, and a lot of discussion was held, and we're working closely together, and we scheduled a meeting the third Wednesday each month to get together and continue our discussions on issues and projects that we're doing and they're doing. The military banners have been hung back up, as they should, so I'm very happy about that, and it was a privilege to be part of putting those back up. If anyone has one and they want them up, I'll still take them. There was a deadline, but I'll still take them. I attended the West Point's Installation Planning Board meeting. I always like to know what they're doing up there, how it might affect us. The paint machine that we have, that we do the lines, just want to point this out. We used to pay We used to pay $8,000 a year to have a guy come in and paint all our lines and Main Street parking lines and yellow lines and parking lots and et cetera, crosswalks. But we went out and bought a machine, and we bought the machine for $10,000. And you can figure about $1,000 for paint a year. So over the course of 3 years, we had paid $8,000, that's $24,000. So I think we did pretty well by having our own paint machine, our own guys do it. They look good. A couple years ago, they were a little wavy, but they've gotten better. And so there's some savings there. I attended here, we had it here, in fact it was in this room, tabletop exercise with Orange and Rockland in case there's a windstorm, a rainstorm, a snowstorm, a blizzard. It was very good. It was attended by a couple of other village employees. I want to thank for the second time the county, Orange County Department of the clerk herself, the Department of Motor Vehicles unit was here again. We fixed the cell, how can I say it, Jim? The cell reception. We fixed it for this time. That was an issue the first time. My last thing I think will be to tell you that we get 4 checks a year, quarterly, from sales tax, Orange County sales tax. And we have to budget an unknown figure of guessing what we'll take in this year. We're pretty good at it. We've been pretty right on with what we thought we might get. And so this is very good news. We had budgeted $1,320,000. We received $1,518,000. So that's $200,000 more than we thought. So that's very good for the budget. Okay, Melanie?
Did you want to go to the public comments first?
I will.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I guess I can bring it up now. A lot of people from Pellwood are here tonight because they want to present a petition asking that the village board actually change the zoning back at the end of 9W on Main Street to residential non-conforming. I know that there has been a lot of discussion with a comprehensive plan and getting that updated, that the steering committee has had their last meeting with the public, okay, and the different representatives for the comprehensive plan. And there's worry that it's not going to get put on the comprehensive plan, or better yet, that it's not going to get changed back to residential non-conforming. So I have only been here in the community for 5 years, but I do know that about a decade ago or so ago, that the people of Pellwood actually fought to keep that area where the U.S. Academy Motel is now as residential non-conforming. And the reason they did that is because they wanted to keep the feel of the area. It's very beautiful back there, by the way. There's a little lake. And they did that because they never want to see a building higher than 1 story in front of their houses. But in 2020, the board, I think 3 of you were on that board then, Gary and I were not, actually approved to change that zoning to a B3 zone, B3 being very, very dense, which would allow a building to be as high as 5 stories to replace the current motel that's there. So the people here tonight want to make sure that, get reassurance that that doesn't happen and that we convert it back, asking the village board with a petition in hand to to turn it back to residential non-conforming. What do you guys think about that?
You just killed my speech.
This is, we will accept the petition, of course, and I hear what you're saying, and I'll listen to anyone else. I don't want to say it's premature, but let me tell you where we are with the comp, let me tell you where we are with the comp plan. The comp plan was done, I don't know, it seems like we've been working on it for a long time. I think we have. Then a committee was formed, and I know there were 4 meetings. I actually attended each meeting. I don't think I said much. I don't think I said anything. I was there to listen, to be honest with you. And from that now, as Mr. Martin will say, I was to be given the comp plan draft. I am to review it. And when I'm done reviewing it and making any comments, not changes, but comments, to Mr. Martin, then the Board of Trustees receives it. So where we're at is I'm reviewing it right now. And it takes a lot of time, but I'm doing it on top of everything else. So that's where we are.
Well, I guess I have a question about that, right?
And I'm sure you
So
do.
the comprehensive plan is a master plan, and the intention of a comprehensive plan and why it's important, it's supposed to be a foundation, right?
Right.
A master plan for the village and rationale for all future zoning and land use decisions in the village. It's not, it's supposed to be, it consists of people in the public who want to see who want to tell us what they want the village to become,
That's what we're doing.
what they want us to.
Where are we not doing it?
So why does it need, first of all, review by you? before
Well, you
the board sees it?
you asked Mr. Martin. I tell you, you've called him many times. Call him.
Right, so it should be an independent thing. We're paying him, what, $40,000?
At least.
To come up with an independent look as to what should go in the master plan.
No,
The public
it's not,
is here now.
Mr. Martin does not do if you're saying Mr. Martin does an independent, that he's going to do an independent document, that's not true. That's not accurate. I don't want to say not true, that's not accurate. He's doing what we want, not
Right.
what he wants. Why would he do what he wants? He lives up in the Canadian
No,
border.
that's not what independent means.
Okay.
Independent means that he is a third party looking at you, looking at me, looking at the board, looking at the public, and taking all their input and putting it in the comprehensive plan. Not for any single person on the board to influence what goes in the comprehensive plan. Because if any single person on the board influences what goes in the comprehensive plan, then you subdue all of the people's voice, right? Right. There's always that
Listen,
fear
Melanie,
that when
listen,
you have the
Melanie,
power
don't-
to actually do that,
don't-
everybody who's here now
Don't-
in this room,
Don't insinuate that the public haven't been involved. They've been involved more than probably most other communities involved, and they should be. I don't disagree with that, but don't make it sound like this document belongs to Jim Martin and me and us. It doesn't. There's been plenty of meetings, a whole bunch of meetings. Besides the committee meetings, there's been public hearings, there's been public meetings. We had them up at the,
Excuse me, when have there been public meetings?
oh, we had them, some of the same people were here, we had them at the Senior Citizen Center.
I've never seen them posted on.
Well, they're all posted on the village website, on the front door.
I've never seen them.
Okay.
Members of the board, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, I'm new to the community. I just want to know if this has been so transparent for the public, why is it that we have to fight to rezone it residential? And it seems like in whatever year it was secretly moved to B3 or whatever Mr. Guerrero was saying. If that's so transparent and the public's been a part of that whole process, then I think every person in this room that's from that community would have said absolutely not. So to me, that doesn't add up in itself. So
Okay.
I would like clarification as well
On,
on how it became commercial B3 when it's supposed to be residential, and everybody in here would have fought that. So if it was truly transparent like you're saying, then I guarantee that would have never been approved and it would still be a residential zone. So, thank you.
Joe, you think
Yes,
public
uh,
No,
comment?
I want to
They
get,
have a
I'm
question.
trying to get done with the board, then I am. And
You know, that's why I said, on the agenda, it says public comment first, because all these people are here waiting to voice their opinion, and if you're going to make me do it dilutes what they came here for, okay? So on your agenda, it says public comment, and then you comment, and then the board comments,
Do you
but it
have
seems
anything
like it's
else?
been,
Do you
I have
have
many
anything?
more,
Okay,
okay?
please, come on, please.
All right, so you guys will have to speak last, okay? Don't
That's
forget,
okay.
you're gonna
We're
get
stay the
lost,
whole meeting anyway,
you're
right?
gonna get lost
Yeah,
on
Does
the,
anyone want to leave? Does anyone have, do you have to leave because of, okay.
all right, okay.
Okay, if the baby gets cranky,
So-
you'll talk.
I'll step out.
No, don't step out.
Okay, so I think there's a perception also by the residents that that zoning change was done in particular for the benefit of one person in particular, or one business owner in particular. And they do have problems with the way that motel is being run, and as part of the building department and the building liaison. Okay, several issues have come up that we're working on to actually look into violations of the village code. So that's the one way I can help with that. Okay, so to a different topic, since we're gonna talk about it again at the end of the meeting, or the people will. Okay, 2 weeks ago, the Tana Highlands United Youths Group, they held a family fun night. I don't know if any of the people who are here went. It was on June 3rd. It was very, very successful. So I thank Sally Dorsch and all the people who contributed to its success. So let's not forget who the Tana Highland United Youths Group is and what they were trying to do. They did it so that the young people, a lot of people in their community, learn how to organize, they learn how to connect, they learn how to be responsible citizens while bringing the community together. That was what they did. They actually were part of the organization for family funding. It's not just a bunch of adults putting it together for kids to bounce around. It's actually the youths putting it together for their families, right? So the Tana Highland United Youths Group, the center of Highland Falls, the vision, if you've been to the farmer's market, they set that up. These are community people, private. The environmental committee, the Connect program at the intermediate school, even the Chamber of Commerce. All of these are groups who advocate for what they believe is good for the community. And they do it as private citizens, right? They do it the right way. They fundraise, they organize, they approach private citizens for funding as long as those private citizens believe in the same things they believe in. So they're doing it the right way. I bring this up because I got a very disturbing email from a nonprofit organization, okay, in my Highland Falls email, multiple emails from the Community Connect Corporation, okay. The founder is Jen Gargiulio. Let me say it correctly because she made fun of me on how I pronounce her name. Anyway, it was an email and it was full of laughing emoticons, okay, from her nonprofit organization. She called me simple-minded. I'm simple-minded. She made fun of my accent. She made fun of my accent even on Facebook, right? For not pronouncing her name correctly. She just like spelled it out on this really, really insulting email, okay? And she calls anyone who doesn't agree with her methods misfits, right? And she bullies them on social media. It really is contradictory to what her nonprofit organization is supposed to be for. Her nonprofit organization, which is a Community Connect Corporation, is supposed to advocate for people with special needs, right? So to label somebody a misfit, to insult their intelligence, to mock their accent, seems really contradictory to the purpose of her organization. Okay, so once again, I'm going to answer her question because she seems to have been very, very offended by what I had said in a previous village board meeting, okay? I'm not against people with special needs. I am not, okay? The village taxpayers spend over $6.5 million a year. That's from the school tax budget on special needs, education, and programs. $6.5 million. You already pay that, okay? When you pay your school taxes. That's for special needs, programs, and education. That's almost as big as the village budget, which is $8 million a year, right? We already spend that much for special needs. So my problem is that she, Ms. Gargiulio, has been promised taxpayer land. The senior center backyard has been promised to her, okay? And another $10,000 of taxpayer money for a sensory garden for special needs. And it was promised to her by Mr. DeSalvo, okay, for campaigning for him at the last election. So that's what I said. I said that is improper, that is illegal. Frankly, that's money that doesn't belong to him. It's money that belongs to you, okay? And it's also money that we really can't afford to spend when we already spend $6.5 million a year on special needs programs and education. It's improper, okay? So this brings me to the audit. We just had an audit done by an independent auditor, the village. It's Nugent and Heusler. It's really not independent because we pay them to audit us about $27,000 a year. They're supposed to look at our books, and it's supposed to be an independent audit for fiscal year last year, 2022. So the report just came out last month. I'm going to summarize it for you. Number one, the village of Highland Falls has a greater than $4 million net deficit. That means that after we look at all the assets of Highland Falls, all the liabilities of Highland Falls, we're in the red by $4 million, more than $4 million, okay? Number two, we haven't paid for debt that we borrowed 20 years ago. We've refinanced it twice in 20 years. The last refinancing we did was last year. Debt from 20 years ago, we haven't paid back, okay? Number three, we have more than doubled our debt since May of last year. More than double. We had to do the sewer lining, and we're about to add, we just approved it tonight, by the way, if you guys were listening. We're getting bids for the On the Ora Cragston water project. That is supposed to be $3.4 million that we have to borrow. But, you know, with the cost of construction now, I imagine that's going to be even greater. So our debt by the end of this year, or the end of the fiscal year, is going to be triple of what it was the year before. Okay? Number four, in their audit, they saw that our capital reserve fund has a whopping $1.3 million in the red as of May of 2022. Our reserve fund has a negative balance of $1.3 million, okay? The capital reserve fund. That means we were spending money we didn't even have by the end of last year, okay? But by now we've replenished that account. You know with what? With borrowed money. Okay, so we've replenished it, but we had to borrow, double our debt to do it. Okay, and lastly, the auditor, he made two parting statements. And these are very important parting statements. Number one, that the financial statements could have been significantly misstated due to errors or irregularities, and fraud or misappropriation could occur and not be detected because we did not have the village did not have adequate segregation of duties and responsibilities. That's our parting statement. Their last parting statement is that the financial statements could have been significantly misstated because of inadequate documentation and performance of oversight functions, oversight by the village board. Okay, so remember, this board, we just approved a budget that has an operating budget deficit of over $1 million, okay? That means that our expenses exceed our revenues by over $1 million, the 2023 to 2024 budget, okay? we need to cut spending. We need to cut spending. Or we need to increase your taxes. All of you homeowners sitting right here right now, okay, we either cut spending or we increase your taxes. You know why? We've been kicking the can down the road for so many years now, and we can only do that for so many more years. You're gonna feel it, and you're gonna feel it soon. All right, so the last thing, the building department, I do have my report for May of 2023. 14 permit applications were received. Phil Hannawalt issued 14 permits. He issued 3 certificates of compliance. He issued 15 building permits. He inspected 15 buildings. He issued 13 violation notices. He received 1 planning board application, and he answered 12 oil requests. So he's been busy. He was, even when he was on leave for about 10 days for a wedding. That's all I have.
Jim?
Which one? Me? Okay. Evening residents. So, at the sewer plant, everything's going smooth down there. They just got the new generator put on the pad down there. They're working on hooking that up. So, once that's hooked up and any other vital information about it, I'll get to you at the next meeting. As far as this board and passing a budget, I was not part of the budget process. I just got on the board in March. I did review it when I got on, but there was many meetings before that some people on this board could have brought up points and facts of how to change the budget, and it seemed like it was kind of quiet at a few of those meetings. I sat in the background. I was not part of the process until I was elected. But with that being said, it does cost a lot of money to run a village. It costs a lot of money to run your houses. We all know that. We're doing the best we can. We have to do upkeep. The north end in the past has gotten sewer and water upgrades, and that has to be at least 25 some years ago. And we're trying to work our way through the village. The village has a lot of old infrastructure in it, and it needs to get done. It's not going to get done for free. We're out there, as the mayor noted. We just got a grant writer. We're looking for grants on anything we can do to help alleviate some of that cost. I mean, there are entities out there that do take advantage of different tax breaks and tax credits that make all of your taxes go up, because when theirs goes down, ours have to go up because we have to make up that difference. But that's a whole nother animal that we don't really need to get into. That's all I really want to say about that. I want to bring some good news to the village. We did have on National Outdoors Day on June 10th was the annual fishing derby. We had over 80 families show up. Well, 80 kids sign up. So, you know, some had a few more kids than others, but over 80 kids showed up. It was fantastic. Had a lot of volunteers from the village show up. We had a lot of donations as well, which was great. The DPW put an extra shine on everything over there. We had the ambulance corps show up in case anything transpired, which it didn't, thank goodness. The fire department was there just as support. They didn't have a truck up there, but the police department was there as well. So they were all trying to keep the peace, but we had our own fish rangers there. If you look at the News of the Highlands, I noted all of the people in there. I don't need to note it again. But it was a great event. It went smooth. We were out of there by a little after 12. So many of the kids catching that fish put a smile on their face that you can't buy. There were some things that we did get from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the ENCON officers, and I do have some extra books left. So if any kids want books out there, just come on down to Village Hall, or actually shoot me an email. The email address is on the village website, and I'll get you some of these books and other activity things that we had. That's about it, Mr. Mayor. And I look forward to doing it next year. It's going to be, again, the second weekend in June, It's always the second weekend in June. It's a national event day. And if we can get some more volunteers, maybe we can make it bigger because all kids don't fish.
Thank you, Jimmy. You did a great job. Great job. It was great, the weather was great, everything. Gary?
Yeah, kudos to trustee Ravens. It's the second year I worked with him doing this. And more kids showed up. They had a blast. It's more people are volunteering, more people are donating, bicycles and, thank you to Kevin at True Value and Steve Lamb at the Hopkins Hardware, at vice versa. Sorry, guys. That they donated buckets and that they're always offering to help out, to donate or whatever the case is. So it was really good for the kids to be out there. Parents were out there. They all had a great time. We had a good time. Thank you to Mr. John Jones for helping. Boiling dirty water dogs. They want to grill them. I don't want to grill them. I'd rather have a dirty water dog. But it was reminds me of Mr. Anderson's cart back in the day. But no, it was really good. So Jim, thank you. It's a really good job, brother. You put a lot into it. You drive us crazy to get it done, and but we enjoy it. We enjoy it, So okay. That being said, water plant department. We're about 510,000 gallons per day. Bog Meadow right now is at 87%. I reached out to Jack Sibley the other day on the 14th. He told me that Bog Meadow was at 94%. So today's reading, which is the 20th of June, we're at 87%. So we're down 7%. We are down 7%. There's no rain. I know it's summertime's coming. People are filling their pools and stuff. Just be very diligent, with the water. I mean, yes, you have to, water your flowers because you spend money on them, and you have to, water your vegetation because you're growing peppers and onions and, tomatoes and, and so forth. But when I just see people out there just watering grass like crazy, I don't know, it's less for my old butt to cut grass, so I really don't care about the grass. But, it does look nice in your yard and so forth. I understand that, but just be very diligent with the water. It's a very rare commodity in other areas of the world, and we have a luxury of having water. So, a Roe Park on Walnut, the hydrant was replaced. Roe Park pool was drained, cleaned, and filled back, and it should be ready for the start of the season. And then they're just waiting for a couple of more quotes up there from the cement workers up there on the water plant that has to get done up there. They're looking at a couple more prices. I'm waiting back from Jack. And then that's it on the water report. The other thing is that, out there walking around, our water reserve comes from Bog Meadow. That area up there, it's a nice area. People go hiking up there and everything, but people walk their dogs and stuff. But that's not a swimming hole for people. I know we all used to do it 100 years ago. Saying I used to swim up there as a kid myself, blah blah. But the thing is that you go up there. There's dogs up there in the water. People are swimming up there. There's dogs laying messes all over the trails up there. Guys, just pick up. Roe Park's starting to be a blank show over there. A real mess over there. It's not fair to other animals. It's not fair to people walking their children or people just walking in general. I mean, there's plenty of people walking around. I mean, Cheryl's always out there walking around. She could tell you how much of a crap show it is over there, right? I mean, it's just it's a mess, But if you're gonna own an animal, just pick up, just do the right thing. Clean up in front of your properties. I mean, Main Street. Somebody put in the paper last week. How Cold Spring looks so nice over there, and I agree. Sometimes other places do look better than ours, but there's certain codes that we're supposed to follow, like only I guess a couple of months or maybe 30 days or something like that. That they're supposed to have a newspaper in the windows of the storefront that's empty. you're supposed to put a curtain up there. There's code that we have laws and stuff, and if you don't follow them, no matter what you do to the village, if it looks like garbage, nobody's gonna wanna come in and live in the village. So, but that's all I have, guys. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Ken?
Yeah, a few things. On the zoning, just to maybe address some of what some folks said in the audience, and I know we'll probably have more of that, but also to address what the trustee said. There's 13 pages of comments from the committee. There's a whole committee, and some of the folks in this room are actually on the committee. There's village board members, there's planning board members, there's citizens from the area in Bellwood. Mr. Young, you're on there. Different members that live in different parts of the community. So there's 13 pages of suggestions that they wanted to see in the comp plan, which the process is that once it gets all compiled, it goes to the mayor and then to the board, and then we have public hearings and the public gets to see it. So there's a whole process. There's nothing's hidden. When the zone was changed several years ago, a few years ago, there was a new church being built. The church took down towards the end. And we were trying to accommodate some economic development, which we were getting input from the community members. Some of the community members are sitting in this room too, to push for economic development. So we created this B3 district to encompass the hotel area and a couple other portions of Main Street. That section of Main Street from Pellwood going down to 9W, we encompass it since it is technically commercial, because it was residential non-conforming. We included that section, but it can be changed. It can be changed. That's what's part of the master plan project. It can be changed. But there was no cloak and dagger. I really wish there wouldn't be a spin put on that from, at the very minimum, elected officials up here on the board. But that's okay, because we need to get the information out better. Maybe we have to do it better. So that's for our job to work on. As we get through the process, we're going to address it again. We know the folks that live in Bellwood want to address it again. We're going to address it again. That's number one. Number two, couple comments. The school budget is approximately $39 million, half of which gets covered by the state or other revenues. We don't pay, the residents of this community don't pay $39 million in one shot with your property taxes. We wouldn't live here. Nobody would live here. We wouldn't own a home. So to say that we pay $6 million for special needs is inaccurate. The actual tax dollars are not $6 million. It is in that budget. What the percentage of that $6 million we pay, I do not know, but I will guarantee you it's a minimum of half of that. On top of that, the school district has certain programs for special needs kids, but they don't have all the programs for special needs kids. That's why some special needs kids go to other districts. And then through your school tax bill, you pay the school and they pay the other outlining schools that cover the special needs for those children. So that is also inaccurate. The $10,000 that we keep talking about that was not a promise, that is again inaccurate, is in the budget under parks. Not to date, not $1 has been spent out of that budget line for a sensory garden for not only seniors, but for special needs kids. Again, Woodbury just unveiled a beautiful one over there. I suggest you all take a ride over there and take a look at it. It's absolutely gorgeous. So that takes care of the garden, taxpayers, school, zoning, budget. According to New York State, which we are actually going through an actual New York State risk, a routine risk assessment right now. The state's here. They're looking at everything, right? But this email from March 16th, 2023 from the Division of Local Government and School Accountability, which comes from the Deputy Controller, Elliot Orbach, who's from the State Controller's Office. The Office of State Controller uses the Fiscal Stress Monitoring System to examine the annual financial information reported by your village. This analysis provides objective assessment of the fiscal challenges facing individual local governments and school districts, identifying situations where corrective action may be needed. For fiscal year 2020, 2021, and 2022, we got no designation, which means if you look at the chart, which anybody can have this, if you have no designation, it means you're not even on the radar. Yes, we took on new debt to do municipal projects, municipalities borrow money to do municipal projects. You can either raise taxes or you can borrow money. If you raise taxes, they're gonna be, if our budget is, according to trustee Guerrera, $8 million, which does not represent real property tax, then we would have to double it in order, not double it, but we'd have to add $3.5, $4, $5 million on there to do the project. Your taxes would go up exponentially. So that's not happening. So again, from the New York State Controller's Office, okay? I have not read the report that she's referring to, so I cannot comment on that. I trust Nugent Hauser. They are a great auditing firm. They've been doing the auditing in the books for the village, I don't know, 20 years plus, at least the last decade.
Every
So I'm not dismaying anything in that report, but keep in mind, folks, an audit is a picture in time. So if they're saying the capital plan was reduced or not, was negative at the time, it's probably because a check did not come for any borrowing that we were waiting on. An audit is a picture in time of what's happening at a specific moment in time. And I cannot comment on that report until we get it, but I'm sure I'll have comments at the next meeting. I'd like to echo trustee Ramos's and trustees Phillips and the mayor's comments about the fishing derby. It was fantastic. There was a lot of kids. It was a very good day. I'd like to echo the comments from trustee Guerrera in regarding the United Youth Group event. It was also fantastic. The Special Needs Association group that was referred to tonight, but I'm not getting into because I don't know about that email. They did an ice cream social. It was very well attended. It was a good fundraiser for them. They did very well. The Juneteenth parade was excellent, and the festivities at Memorial Park were very good. I suggest folks, check the websites, keep looking into it. The master plan or the comp plan is a work in progress still. I guarantee, I live right down the road from you guys. I know, I'm always hearing from Mr. DeYoung or somebody, so I understand that, we're all looking at it, it's work in progress. Thank you.
You?
Dominic?
Yeah, you want to say anything?
Yeah, oh yeah. Norman Young, Pellet Lake Association. And we do exist. I know a lot of people think we don't. These are a couple of us. It's like them M&Ms, they don't even exist. But we also like to get this to you guys, that the residents, taxpayers of Pellet Lake Association want the zoning to be changed back to be used, what it used to be, residential. Now, we all feel the same way. This is everybody in Pellet. No one knows in the place that we don't want it. So I hope you guys will all look at it and look at the wishes that we want to have. We fought this thing 10 years ago with Mr. Aristoff, and we thought it was done. We never, ever. Nobody, I haven't talked to anybody in town that actually knew that this was changed until we heard from a certain resident that it was changed back to, changed to commercial. So that said, I don't know how it was done. I don't know, I'm not saying that anything was done wrong, but what I'm saying is, I don't understand that none of us were told because we fought this thing back then. So I don't know why someone didn't say, hey, you guys call up and drop a dime that this thing was being considered to be changed. I mean, is there any comment on why we weren't told, or nobody knew about it 4 years ago?
There had to be legal notices, so that's all I can say. It was in the paper. That's all, I know that, because it has to be, that's the law.
Yeah, there's a process you have to follow. I don't know. You're right, there were not individual phone calls made to residents.
But a lot of people knew that we fought this. Mr. Aristotle paid a lot of money to fight this thing. And as soon as he died and passes away, it seems like it's brought up, then we change it back.
Well, not to get into a debate, because we shouldn't do that, but at that particular time, it was more than just a zone change that was happening. At that particular time, when you're talking 10 years ago, there was an actual project on the docket. And I think that was where some of the concern was too.
But
right now, there's no project on it.
Well, the way, I wish we could bring it up, but I'm not gonna do it now until we have the chance.
Yeah.
There's people that are going around saying a lot of things to these guys and telling them different things. That's why we're concerned.
Yeah, no,
And that's what
that's why it's good to come to a meeting.
And I know what you guys are talking about, that we have to go through this whole plan. I understand that. But I'm just saying, I want it out there before any of this. that there's not one person in public. These are only a fraction, there's 33 people on there. So what I'm saying is, there's not one person that wants this thing to go through. So I hope you guys just take our comments, and if we can meet, I mean, that's all we want, is to meet and say what we want to do. And maybe, you know, we can hash something out. That's all we're asking for. I mean, I don't think that's a big thing.
But
All right,
And
well, I guess
Norm,
my time.
listen, these are people you grew up with, right?
I
I mean,
think
yeah,
that's
these are
one thing.
people that know the history about that zone. They knew that you fought it so that it's a residential non-conforming, that Mr. Aristoff spent a lot of money to keep it that way so that it's, so I think, yes, you're right, I wasn't here in 2020. I wasn't part of the village board, but I think just as a friend or somebody that has grown up with you, knowing the history behind it, I don't think you're wrong to ask, you know, to be told that there are changes that's brewing, right? I don't think that's unreasonable. Now, I think my question now is, why is it that you can't get a straight answer now, right? Why can't you get a reassurance that the board is going to consider, not just consider, but to actually reverse that zoning rule from 2020? Why can't you get a straight answer? To me, it's pretty straightforward. The business district is really from Main Gate to, I mean, half a mile, all the way to Dale Avenue, and you see all of these business buildings that are empty. So why are you going to dilute the business all the way down to 9W when we can't even fill the businesses on the first half a mile of the business zone? So from my perspective, that doesn't even make sense, to actually dilute the zoning all the way to the end. So if you're here now asking for reassurance, I don't see why we can't give you that reassurance.
So, Mr. Dean, hold on, Jim, let me jump in, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're redoing the comp plan right now. That's we're gonna digest everything, because I've seen you at the meetings, very passionate, as well as the other people down there. We're looking for smart growth, but we can see through the new comp plan coming out, the concerns of the residents there. Now, there's also concerns of the residents on the north end. And there's concerns that when people want to change the zoning up here as well to maybe 300 square foot of lot area per unit, when it was previously a lot more, and they fight that, that was not done properly either. So that's why it went back to that 2000 and change. So let us digest this. There will be public hearings for sure. As soon as the mayor's done reviewing that and adding anything else that he wants with Jim Martin, then we're gonna get it. We can all look at it. We can ask for changes as well in that, and then there'll be a public hearing. So we hear your concerns. Have a little patience with us, please.
We understand that. Well, we're here, that's, like I said, this is only, none of us, really, we got 33 of them. But we just wanted to, we understand that. We just wanted to show you how we feel about it. And we're very, we take care of our property down there. There's one place that doesn't. And if you look on the map of what has to be changed, there's only Bobby's and Mendowski's that would actually be, right now, be changed, it's commercial.
Yeah, but, so we gotta be careful, I think this, we can't do spot
Yeah,
zoning.
exactly right.
I can't take 3 parcels in the whole section and change them.
Right.
Maybe we can, we'd have to get clarification, but maybe we can. But we have to be careful on, if you take a certain
Yes.
zone and you just
Right,
take 2
spot.
properties out,
Correct.
we get nailed for spot zoning.
Correct.
So,
Now we're talking about, Jim, you know what I'm talking about here with the motel. I mean, I can sit here for hours and talk to that motel. I don't want to get involved in that because this isn't where it's supposed to be done right now. But I mean, if you want to come down and we can talk, not on the record or whatever, and find out what these guys want they have to live there, and we have to do, I'm not even gonna go there.
No, look, I get it, and I would also recommend that, keep in mind that, that code enforcement is a consolidated service.
Yes,
Everybody wants
We've been with
consolidation.
them.
So you gotta, so we should probably march down to the town once in a while.
No, I go.
No, I'll go with you. Well, let's go to a town board meeting.
They are doing something right now.
I hope so.
They are.
I hope so.
You know what, their hands are tied too. And it's just how it is, Jim.
How can everybody's hands be tied when it comes to code enforcement?
You know how long that thing's been going on? For 15 years? Down there, we've been calling, and nothing was done?
Well, that's an
15
issue.
years.
That's an issue.
A big issue.
Yeah,
We
I
gotta
agree with
live by- My house is gonna be dropped down 100 to 150 grand if they build that 3-story place. Everybody else, they live right in back of us. All these people are gonna be hit with big
Okay.
drops in.
I don't, first of all, there's no project for 3-story anything.
Well, you know what, maybe you ought to talk to somebody about, he's running around telling
Okay,
people.
but
they're getting them pissed
nothing
off.
anywhere, planning board, zoning board, anywhere is on the docket to do anything. That's my point, in official capacity. I
But
don't know what he's saying.
But do you understand what we're going through?
I do
gotta
understand.
listen. We gotta
I do
listen to
understand.
this.
Completely understand. I live down the street, I got it. I know.
Well, then, you know what, let's talk. That's what I want, that's all I want, is a meeting.
I know what, no, believe me, I know exactly what you want. I know what you want.
All right, well, you give it the floor to somebody else.
Thank you. Anyone else?
While you're walking up here, Michael, I'm going to say something. Jim, okay, I have two things to answer with regard to your comment. Not Jim DeSalvo, but Jim Ramus, okay? One is, you had mentioned that the 350 square feet for B3, that zoning change, you were on the board and you voted for that, okay? So you voted for 350 square feet, which makes that very, very dense. So you're part of that.
No,
The
hold
other
on,
thing-
hold on, whoa, whoa, whoa,
and then
whoa,
the
whoa.
second thing
Let's
is, no,
let's
yeah, yeah.
clarify that it was a mistake that was made during the COVID crisis, and it was corrected by this board.
Seems to be a lot of mistakes you're making.
A lot?
So the second thing is that
Should
you
we
did
really
say
talk
something-
about people that are getting tax breaks and
Yes.
causing everybody else out here to pay more taxes? I don't want to go down that road.
Oh, yes, no, I'll go down that road.
No,
okay.
we're not, I'm not.
So the second thing
We're not
to
gonna go
answer-
down the road, we're all done. Before I know, I'm gonna get you,
Okay.
Mike, right now. Before I adjourn this meeting, because I'm not putting up with nonsense up here. That's over. That's been over for me for a few weeks. Ain't doing it no more. Mike, you wanna talk? Now's your time. And anyone else to talk after Mike, it's now your time. If this starts up here though, I'm gonna adjourn, and anyone that didn't talk, that still wants to talk, I'll sit here for a little while. Mike,
Thank you.
thank you.
Michael Joyce,
This is ridiculous.
village member. Gary,
So,
I know that this didn't happen on your watch. I want to make that perfectly clear. The last meeting, I asked you about the filters.
yes, sir, I just received.
And you said they were with a committee or
Yep,
something? That was
Hazen
a
and
month
Sawyer.
ago.
Not a committee yet.
No, the people came and inspect them.
Yeah,
They just got the report. I did not get it back. I did not get it from Jack today.
okay,
You know,
so
So the
next
next meeting
meeting,
I will have information. I was gonna address that and then that part like that, and you can see right here, Mike, I'm not BSing you,
no,
brother.
no, no,
No, right
I
here.
believe it.
Filter report is back from Hazen and Sawyer. That's all they told me.
Okay.
So, but I didn't get an update on there, and this came at 3:03 this afternoon.
And these filters, I would assume, would come in from the source into the plant where the water is treated and then
Filters
the
in
water
the
is pumped
The
out.
filters are in
In the
the,
plant,
Yeah, the waters are in the plant.
yeah.
the filter.
But
They're filters.
at what, they're taking the raw water that's out in the reservoir, filtering it, gets straight in the plant, then it
Correct.
gets sent out.
Yes, yep.
Well, again, it gets purified even more and then it gets sent out.
Right. So, you'll find out, because these filters are 70 years old, right?
Yeah.
And
Something like
again,
that.
and again, it wasn't on his watch.
You know. Well, it's my watch now, so,
Well,
you know, but yeah, yeah.
What does that mean?
Well,
What does that, what does that mean?
He's not responsible for filters that were left way overdue, that should have been looked into and maintained
Well,
before now.
No, they were maintaining and before now, but the thing is that it's hard. I'm not BSing, this is what we were told by the engineers and everything. The water coming in from Bog Meadow is so clean, okay, that we really don't pick up anything, to be honest. So that's why they're checking the filters and everything else. We did have some, what were they called before, Mr. Mayor? The infraction, but it was such a minute infraction, the particles, but they're coming, our water's coming down from Bottom Meadow and everything, and it's hard to believe because traveling underneath the West Point Golf Course and everything else, we all chemicals there and everything.
And there was a letter put out that people with certain issues shouldn't drink the water until it was.
But there's no, everything was fine underwater, but like I said, with those filters,
Okay.
I am gonna get the information and have that for the next
And
one.
you'll know what the filters were running at,
Yeah.
as to what they're running at now, as to when, like what percentage?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
we'll find out if it's like catching, say, 80% back then, so, but yeah.
Because there is a lot of seniors in the village that have health issues, and it is important to have clean
Oh,
water.
we do have clean water, that I can
Okay,
guarantee.
okay. All right.
This is not Poland Spring, I'm too cheap to buy another bottle, this is Highland Falls tap water,
Okay.
and I have no filter on the water.
Thanks, Mike. Anyone
But-
else?
No, just one other question. Trustee DeSalvo, just want to get something clear. So the village taxpayers don't pay this 30 million into our school system. But it is true to say with what the taxpayers pay here plus what we get from the state adds up to 6-point-something million for handicapped people.
I wouldn't classify them as handicapped.
Well, okay, special needs,
Or
sorry.
special needs.
Okay.
And if you look at the school budget, so that, just like our budget, see, when someone says we have an $8 million budget, I want to answer you properly. So when someone says we have an $8 million budget, it's not entirely accurate, because what comes from tax revenue, or your tax bills, is only 3 points, let me get this right, I want to say it right, hold on, Michael. What comes from real property tax is 3.354.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Gotcha.
So we get the other revenues from other sources. The school, the same way. They get their revenue from other sources. Actually,
I totally understand.
yeah.
But,
So we don't pay,
but,
we don't directly pay for property taxes $39 million.
right. But the program still gets 6-point-something.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Michael, can I ask you
But I
something?
would add to that, that 6 point whatever is not directly funded solely by property taxes.
No, I totally understand that, but the
Okay.
programs themselves does get between village taxpayers and the state,
Sure.
does wind up being 6-point-something million.
And even with that, there are a
All
lot
right.
of kids that don't go to the district because
We can't subsidize 100%. Michael, I have a question for you that's totally different, right? You're a veteran,
Yes.
right? And you went to war, Iraq, Afghanistan, okay? I'm a veteran. I did 24 years in the service.
Yes.
I went to 2 wars. My husband is a veteran. He went to West Point. He went to 3 wars, okay? 26 years in the Army, okay? So he and I are veterans. We bought property here, just as you did, just as other veterans sitting in the room now, and we got a tax break for being veterans. But somebody resents that we're getting that tax break for our service to this country. I don't know why, but I feel like I earned that tax break for being a veteran and for going to 2 wars. And so does my husband. Okay, thank you.
I think when you sleep in places where you don't have a bed, or sometimes the food isn't that good, not because the Army doesn't have great cooks, but because you're sent out on missions, and through nobody's fault, you do what you must. But yeah, veterans
thank you.
deserve everything that they get, and then some.
You're absolutely
I
right.
agree with that.
And we're getting way off the village board here. Anyone else?
The UGREs are very good.
Let me take him and then I'll take you.
You run a business? Well, you know,
If she wakes up, I'm running, so I'm not gonna be the one who wakes her up.
the eyes just open.
So members of the board, here's my concern. I haven't been to war. For those of you who have done your tours, I appreciate that. It means a lot to me as someone who actively serves. My wife and I are both new to the West Point community. My wife is a graduate, and I'm under contract to buy a house in the Pellwood community. So that's not by choice, unfortunately. I put in no less than probably 30 to 40 offers on homes all throughout the community within a 30-mile radius. Unfortunately, there's no inventory, and frankly, Lowe's, who I'm buying a house from, was the only one that we could possibly even get the opportunity to buy a house from. My concern is that I haven't been to war, but I feel like I'm walking into a war zone in Highland Falls, and I'm a police officer. I can see a disgusting pit, and I know them better than anybody. And that motel is a drug pit. I wouldn't be surprised if you have, human trafficking, whatever else. And I got a little girl, and the last thing I want is a bunch of drug dealers and human traffickers or whatever else is going through that motel to be living right next door to my little girl, And I'm not the only one. There's other people in our community that have little kids. So, people can shake their heads and deny that it's a war zone, but I've been, as a police officer, a war zone is something that can be at home too, and that can just be a dangerous community. I'm coming from Fort Benning, Georgia. Columbus is a war zone. I came from gunshots every night to people stealing my entire HVAC out of my home. Someone tried to steal stuff out of my yard, break into my house. I don't want that here. And that motel is what I had in Columbus. So it's my concern as a new resident that that's what I'm going to be walking into. And if I had the option, I wouldn't even be living in Pellwood, and it's because of that motel. So I just have to voice my concern as a taxpayer, as a citizen, and I hope that weighs heavier for you guys when you do look through this master plan and take that into consideration.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely,
I appreciate that.
absolutely.
And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, is there any more after Ed? Anyone else?
All right, my name is Edward Dunn, planning board member, also a resident of the village of Highland Falls. I'm not going to rehash all this stuff about the zoning, because we've been over it. Things started in 2022, there was another law that came out that increased the square footage. Now, this is one thing I want to address. We just had a person come before the planning board the other night, last week, Thursday. Wants to build a building right down the street, empty lot, nice building, 4 stories, would fit right in the community. But he's going to have to go to ZBA for everything. So the ZBA is going to hold sway on whether you can have a useful building with a storefront and retail space on the first floor, 3 floors of apartments with elevator access, which is good for the ADA people, which is what we're looking for in the village, but it's going to increase density in that area. So this is something that you should really start to consider when you're looking at square footage per unit. Now, back in the day, 2020 or whatever it was, my suggestion at that time was 850 square feet. So then the mistake was made with the other thing, 350 square feet, which was ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, everything comes back up to 2,500 square feet. This building right here, if you look at it, you got 2,500 square foot on the stamp. So we have to consider these things when we're looking at the urban area right here. All right, that's all I have to say. I would like to see this project go through, it still has to go through a lot of engineering review, but we're ushering them to the ZBA. So the ZBA is going to have final sway on if that place stays a vacant lot or something useful to build a tax base in Highland Falls. That's all.
Thank you.
Can I, real quick, So is that the vacant lot right across the street that
Next to Warden Hicks.
Warden Hicks? And remember, I don't know if you were on the village
Yeah,
planning
I
board at
was.
the time, right?
Yeah.
And it had an approval, and
Yeah.
unfortunately it fell through, because he had a nice project set up there.
Been through a couple iterations.
Yeah. Is it kind of like what was approved back in the day? And can he use that?
No, well, yeah, he can use part of it, he was looking at drainage,
Yeah.
stuff like that, and it was supposedly something that went across the parking lot into the brook. I don't know if it's in existence or it's not in existence, or...
Yeah, because a lot of
The drawings were all there, the engineering was there for that.
the engineering got worked out, so
Right.
if he can use that, that'd be great.
Well, you know, it's gonna have to be, that foundation has to come down,
Mhm.
and new foundation has to come up.
Right.
So,
Okay.
you know, a lot of engineering things have gotta be worked out, but, we really have to pay attention to our zoning. All right,
Thanks.
that's it for me, thank you.
I've written it out so I can, I'll be fast. Ron Malakat from the North End Association.
Is it an association?
Yeah, we're doing the petition.
What is,
So we have a
am I in
petition.
that, am I in that?
Yes, you qualify.
Oh.
Listen, you know, people are here talking about the comprehensive plan, because when you have the public meeting with the comprehensive plan already done, it's done. We can make suggestions then, it's too late. Now's the time when we can affect the board and make you change your mind.
Correct.
And that's why people are here today, and that's why I'm here
Correct.
today. When I listen around and I hear a lot of, not in my backyard, you know, and when I support the Public Association, that it should be residential, non-conforming to those 2 pieces of property or 3 pieces. But the way to solve some of the village problems here is to increase the population, increase density, by allowing more development. Yet, not my backyard will persist, and we look to you, the board, to lead, to solve these problems. We're all going to have to give up a little bit of our backyards to turn the village around. That is what communities all around the United States are doing. Boards are changing the zoning laws because we need more tax dollars. You're making hard decisions that may not be popular, but it's for the good of the whole community. In these, I was on the steering committee, and I was really encouraged by the village engineer who stated that there's enough water for 1,364 more bedrooms in this community. And that's not even going over the safe limit, and that's not even with improvements to impound more water. So this would be approximately 40% more increase in population. This will solve the problems on Main Street. That kind of a population increase will want to spend more money. Our local entrepreneurs would reopen up their businesses. I'm okay with board members investing in the community. I'm okay with village employees investing in the community, buying houses, fixing them up, renting them out. But I do have a problem with outside investors bullying and cajoling the leaders on this board to get the zoning that they need. And that's what it seemed like happened in 2020. When the comprehensive plan was just announced, here it is, everybody, it was a public meeting, and it's still going on, the pandemic happened. There's code enforcement, change the zoning code to allow for multifamily housing. It brings in more tax dollars, which is what we need. Why limit development in the business district to businesses on the first floor if you want apartments upstairs? Allow for condo development. Allow for apartment development in the business district. We all need to give a little to turn this village around. We can't afford to keep going with a limited tax base, paying more tax dollars and more tax dollars and more tax dollars and getting less and getting more in debt. The village is not investing in the village. There are a lot of good people and groups investing their time and efforts to make this community a great place to live. A lot of these groups were mentioned today, a lot of people too. But what is the village doing? Are we getting more parks? Are we getting more parking? Are we increasing our tax base? Compromise on all recommendations, make smart decisions. You're gonna have to make hard decisions that will have long-term effects in this community, 10, 20, 30 years down the road. Although, last time was '09 and now it's '23, so 15 years in between comprehensive plan updates. Lastly, if you want to run for office again, or you want to run for office in the town, you want to run for office in the county, how well you write up this comprehensive plan will determine if you win, how you lead. It's time for you to lead and write up a comprehensive plan that benefits everyone in the community. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed?